Hello. As solar panel array voltages get higher and higher, you often need to switch those. Sometimes you can't use a MOSFET or IGBT and you have to use a mechanical contact. The problem with those is that these contacts, when they open up, can cause arcing. This is especially bad. Never use a contact which is silver based, because those will arc. The contacts will melt a little bit and it'll form an arc, and it just won't stop. Most switch contacts for higher current are tungsten, so you don't have to worry about that. In a normal RC network, what happens is when the switch opens up, current flows through the resistor and capacitor, and so it places almost a short, or at least reduces the voltage across the switch contacts so they can mechanically open up far enough so the arc extinguishes before the voltage starts climbing on the capacitor. Ideally, what you want is a capacitor that's as large as possible and a resistor as small as possible. But then what happens is, this is fine for the switch contact opening, but when it closes, the switch contact not only sees the load current, but it also sees the current from the capacitor being discharged. A slightly better method is to place a diode across the resistor. That allows you to use a 220 ohm or higher resistance to discharge the capacitor, and when the switch contacts open, the current flows through the diode into the capacitor. This looks like almost no resistance. The capacitor, if it's large enough, and you can make it as large as you want, will handle that current for a short period of time till the contacts open far enough and the arc is extinguished. This is better, but I wouldn't use it for too high voltages. This method here, what it does is, when the load is turned on, the capacitor charges up through this resistor, and when the switch contacts open, there's a reverse voltage placed on the arc, and that quickly extinguishes it. This method can get you nearly the full AC rating of the switch contacts. This is not something I just thought up. This is from a book by James Dillon Cobine. This is basically, this Gaseous Conductors is the Bible on things that go arc in the night. This book has been in print since the late 40s. It's still in print. It's the book I use most often around the shop. I happen to have a couple books from Cobine's personal library. That and $4 will get me a cup of coffee. Whenever you're using a capacitor across your contacts, use an oil-based capacitor. These are motor run capacitors. These are self-healing and they're not prone to shorting out. Last thing you want is have a capacitor short out. Do not use the capacitors in the plastic case. Those are highly unreliable. In water heater situations, a lot of people are doing supplemental heating with solar on the lower heating element. The lower heating element has basically a switch contact with just two connections, and so that is much like this case. So what you should do is, just for safety's sake, is the upper element is a normally closed, normally open contact. Buy a thermostat for the upper element and use that for the lower element. The big advantage is there's also a thermal cutout switch that manually has to be reset if you reach over temperature conditions, and that's a safety feature which you should use in any water heating. There's always a possibility you can have too much heat, develop steam, and your water heater can blow up. So be careful with that. Well, I hope you found this video interesting, and thanks for watching.